What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ben, and I talk about the film and TV industry every single week, and I break down trends and analyze the business as a whole, and I'm glad to have you here. So today I wanted to talk about Severance, and yes, I am so excited to watch this new season. I cannot wait. I'm filming this 1 week right before it comes out. I watched season 1 twice. I've seen the season finale 3 times because I was at a friend's house and they were like, hey, I haven't seen it yet. Do you want to watch it? And I was like, yes, I absolutely do. So that's how much I love this show. I genuinely can't wait to watch it every single week. But there is one little thing about this show that I do need to talk about because it is a real problem. And it's not just with Severance, it's with a lot of other TV shows. But Severance has this just massive problem that really needs to be talked about. And my issue with Severance is these long ass waits in between seasons. It's been 3 years. And I know it sounds like whining and complaining and just generally bitching about it when, it's a good thing we have this show. But this issue is much bigger than you may realize. And if some type of correction does not happen, then a lot of people who work on these shows might get hurt. So I wanted to dive into Severance's delayed season and what caused it, and how this is not just a Severance issue, but also a lot of other shows are dealing with this as well. Why this is not bad just for you, the audience, but also bad for the entire television industry, and what I personally think studios should do to retain these high quality shows. So grab a drink and enjoy. I'm drinking whiskey. This is a Kirkland Scotch brand, only the finest in my house. So please sit back and enjoy as I dive in. Gotta get a coaster for that. There's my coaster. Look, it's the finest wood. Severance first came out on February 18th, 2022, nearly 3 years ago. Seems like a lifetime ago. Like hope was alive back then. And we've all been patiently waiting for season 2, and it's been a long time. And I get why this show might take a while to make. It's very high quality. The writing is absolutely superb. They are getting the time that they need to write these great scripts and to make sure that they are delivering quality. The set work, the production design, the lighting, the filming, it's all amazing. And some of it's better than movies, I would say, which isn't saying much depending on if you're watching like Red One, right? But it is all top notch. I'm glad Severance has been given the time to create this great work, even if it does take a long time. And to give Severance the benefit of the doubt, it had a lot going against it. There was a lot of unforeseen circumstances. And I also feel like there are quite a bit of details behind the scenes that have delayed this season that we don't know about just yet. It was renewed right away after season 1 on April 6, 2022, shortly before the season finale aired, and work was likely done on the second season before that date. Usually whenever you see a press release, that deal was done a while ago. It's not like it just happened to be done and then they quickly rushed at the deadline. That's just not how these announcements usually work. And then they started production in October of 2022, which is pretty fast. And like that tells me that they were already writing this season before that announcement date. No way did they write these 9 episodes in such a short amount of time. No way at all. And then they had quite a few problems arise, with the writer's strike supposedly delaying production. Production was paused on May 8th, 2023, just 4 days before they were supposed to wrap on May 12th. And here's where I think there were some issues that happened with the show, whether that be creative issues, most likely creative issues, or production issues in general that we just don't fully understand yet, or they haven't been announced yet, or they haven't been fully elaborated yet. The dual actors and writers' strikes halted production until both contracts were ratified and production could resume on January 29th, 2024. And when they shut down initially, like I said, they only had 4 days left in their production, so they should have been done 4 days after January 29th, right? But no, their production continued until April 23rd, 2024. They had 4 months of additional filming and additional time to rework this show. So there were a lot of issues that further delayed this show from coming out with the strikes. But because of this little 4-month additional shooting period, I personally feel like this was going to happen no matter what, with or without the strikes. So they had a lot going against it with the strikes, but it was still massively delayed. And this is not just a Severance problem. This is happening to a lot of shows where there are very long gaps in between seasons. Euphoria has had 2 seasons since 2019, and maybe the 3rd season might film this year. Who knows? They keep saying they're going to film and then they push it. So maybe it will come out in 2026, like 3 seasons of television in 7 years. Like Gen Z who grew up with this show, they'll all be able to rent a car by the time season 3 comes out. House of the Dragon has only had 2 seasons since debuting in 2022, and a third season may not come out until sometime in 2026. Stranger Things last season should be coming out sometime this year after season 4 aired in May of 2022. Very similar timeline to Severance. So this is not just a Severance problem, but it is a trend for the entire industry right now. And as we continue to make these shows, it will grow to become very problematic. Obviously, it's very problematic for you, the audience. You have to wait years just for a show to return. And then when it does return, you gotta find a good YouTube recap to actually understand what happened last season, because you can't remember because you binged it when it came out, and that entire show was put in your short-term memory, and now that whole memory is gone. And I'm sorry, Netflix or HBO's recaps, they genuinely suck. Why don't they just hire these YouTubers? They're like a minute and a half and they hardly contain the information that you need. These YouTubers are so much better at making these like recap videos, and they don't even know what's going on in the next season, so they can't like prepare their recaps to be tailored for the next season. Honestly, it's an art that we don't give a lot of credit to. And then when the show does come out, you'll likely just binge it in one weekend like I did with Squid Game Season 2. I'm very a big advocate of weekly releases, but I am 100% the problem for why these shows just are released in this binge format. I recognize that I'm the problem, okay? But even if it's not released in a binge model and dumped all at once, if it is a weekly release, it's still over in just 2 months, and then we gotta go back to waiting years again just for the show to come out. It does suck, but I do think we as a collective audience have gotten used to it, and we have made peace with it. We're willing to wait as long as it is quality that gets delivered. We understand as consumers that this may take a while. But all of this doesn't inherently hurt us. It sucks, but it doesn't actually hurt us. However, it does hurt the people making it. Back in the day when shows only had a 3 month gap in between seasons, both writers and crew members took a little vacation during this time once the season ended or once their job ended, and then they went back to work and started on the next season just a few months later, assuming they did a good job or the show wasn't canceled. But with these longer wait times in between seasons, this means they go without income for many months and they need to take other jobs in between. And since more and more shows are abandoning the stable broadcast model that we once had in favor of these high quality streaming shows and using this model, there are now less jobs to go around for both blue collar crew workers and writers, and it's making both careers kinda non-viable. This has both short-term effects and long-term effects. The short-term is more of these people in these career fields will have to move on and find new lines of work entirely. And since there aren't that many jobs to go around, the jobs that are available will all go to these high-up people who are already established in the career, meaning people won't be able to get into this industry, meaning low-level writers and low-level production crew members won't be able to get this essential like entry level work and medium tiered work so that they can move up and hit the senior level roles. This will then lead to a massive labor shortage in the next like 10 to 20 years where we won't have people in these jobs to make these great shows that we all love because they either abandoned the field entirely because they couldn't find sustainable work or because there isn't anyone trained enough in these fields to take on more of these senior positions once those people start to retire. It's all very worrying considering how a lot of people who use these streaming services mainly use it for TV shows that have already existed and they're already done. Like The Office used to be Netflix's #1 TV show before it went to Peacock. It dwarfed all of their originals. So streamers can literally be okay with taking a long time in between seasons because their audiences will patiently wait for their new shows to come out. But if something does not change soon, I do think that it could royally wreck the TV industry. So what should studios do because of this to ensure that these TV shows are still able to get made at a sustainable rate, even if they do take a long time? Well, for one, and it's sort of a self-plug, I do think there needs to be more of a balance between these low-cost procedural shows that draw a big audience that help fuel these bigger shows that do take a long time to make. But I'm not going to go into that too much because I went into that quite a bit in my last video about Abbott Elementary and about High Potential and how I think those shows are saving the entire TV industry. So check out my last video if you really want to. So instead for this one, I want to focus solely on how I think these studios should handle these expensive shows that do take a while. And I think what they should do is invest more into them and greenlight multiple seasons at a time. Audiences kind of adapted to these long wait times that we have, where once a show ends, we understand that it could be a year and some change before we get to see it again because we know it takes a long time. We've adapted to the streaming age, but studios have not. Studios are still acting like the broadcast model, where they allow a show to come out first, see how it does, and then they'll decide if it gets another season. And that just doesn't work when these shows take as long as they do to make. Studios need to be more confident with their content and greenlight multiple seasons at a time. That way, there is a constant line of work where writers are already writing the next season as they are filming or as they are in post production. And some studios are already doing this, but it is still at a very minor scale. Ironically, Apple is actually doing it with some of their shows. Even though they have a whole problem with Severance, some of their other shows are doing just fine and are doing this model. The fifth season of Slow Horses is coming out later this year, but Gary Oldman already told people that they are already filming season 6. And when season 4 came out and had their finale, they dropped a season 5 trailer at the end of the season 4 finale. No show has fucking done that. Like, not even broadcast TV can do that. Who is running Slow Horses? Give them a studio. Or Silo, which was just renewed for season 3 and 4, and it will shoot back to back. Also, kudos to Silo. Silo season 1 came out, and in just like a year and some change, with a writer's strike and with an actor strike, they had a season 2 come out in about a year. Beautiful work. It's also wild to me that I'm congratulating these shows for releasing one season in 1 year. Like, this used to be the norm. We used to get this all the time. It used to, like, shows would end and then they would come back just a couple months later. That was the norm. And yes, we've adapted, we've changed, and it does take time. But it's wild to me that I have to congratulate these shows for making one season of television in a year. There are ways to do it. Studios just need to be just a tad bit more confident in the content that they're producing and be willing to take just a little bit of a gamble. That way, people will still have their jobs and we'll get our shows just a whole lot sooner. Not to mention that there have also been studies shown where audiences literally won't watch a show because they think it will get canceled. If they continue this method of greenlighting multiple seasons and filming back to back, it will tell the audience that they are very confident and excited about this show. And it will naturally just draw more viewers to their shows now that they know that there is a chance for a possible ending. And don't take this as I'm pissed about Severance or I don't think this show should exist. I am very happy this show exists. I can't wait to watch this show. And even though I will be happy to watch it, we still need to think about the workers on these shows. Hollywood gets a lot of shit and they get a lot of crap about, like, oh, they're all rich and they're all celebrities and they should be blessed to work on these shows. But, like, take it personally from me, most of these people are just like blue collar workers. They're just people who, even the writers, they're just people who write and they live day by day. They live month by month. Some of these people are paycheck to paycheck. They literally sometimes don't know when another job is coming. So we need to ensure that they are still around to make this great TV for us. So please watch Severance and tell Apple to immediately greenlight more seasons. That way we don't have to wait until 2028 for a season 3. Yes, 2028. That is when season 3 will come out if they follow this same timeline. Like, Christopher Walken might be dead by then. We'll be in the next election cycle by the time this comes out, assuming we get one. But what do you all think about this long wait time? Are you tired as well? Do you think this is unsustainable? Or do you have other points to make? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you already subscribed, and thank you for returning. Please like and comment, even if it's just like thanks. Like, I try to respond to every single comment and they really do help push out these videos. If you enjoyed what you saw and you don't subscribe, consider subscribing, you know? Every week I put out some videos like this where I do deep dives into the film and TV industry and I hopefully make you think. And I'm also experimenting with some other type of content that is still related to film and TV. So if you do, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.